Please welcome to the show, Mr. David Stryzewski. David, thank you very much for being on. We need to course correct. That's the new lingo that they talk about, I think mostly in the military. But we're gonna have to upset the apple cart. We talked about it in the last segment. But it's interesting to see how investors are reacting to this news, which I think was pretty well telegraphed. But what say you?
We're at a very interesting time right now, as there's a lot of transitions that are taking place. We've got a new president here, new team that's in place. We've got new policy right now that's being enacted here in the United States, and then now on a worldwide basis. And so, when we start talking about tariffs, we start talking about, a number of these changes, we see a bunch of uncertainty. And so what does the market fear and also hate? Uncertainty. And so we find ourselves in this place where the market's going to have, one of these nervous timeframes. And to your point, gold and treasuries are literally the place that we go for these safe havens. And so that's why we're seeing this mad rush as money is literally exiting, the stock market in record form, and even the crypto market, and going to gold and treasuries. And that's why we're seeing these moves. And so I think that we're seeing a revaluation that's going to be happening with gold. And I say that by observing the fact that we've moved approximately 2,000 tons since December here, just back to the United States. And that's just after central banks have had their third year of better than 1,000 tons of purchase in gold. And so I think that we're just at the beginning of a gold revolution. And I personally think that you're going to see, the strategic wealth reserve with other assets built into it being a part of the reason why people will want to continue to do business with the United States going forward.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see what they find when they go through Fort Knox. If they don't have what they think they have, maybe gold goes to 5,000. Who knows? But anyway, but I think that those are two, little indicators I like to look at. Part of my go-tos every day, but because this market is very fickle, and it's been fickle for a while, right? And probably all year long, you could say, as the stock market goes, as far as year-to-date returns, we're a little lower on some, we're unchanged, a little bit easier on, which is a shock to a lot of younger investors, I'm sure, because they're used to 25% outsized returns year over year, which, by the way, folks, little banner for you is that doesn't happen that often. When I got started, and I'm an old man, 8 to 10% return was pretty good. I don't know if you remember that, David, but that was okay back in the day. So are we going to see 10 to 15% return this year and a 10-year yield that hangs around 4.5%? Is that something that could be on the cards?
Who knows ultimately? I could talk out of both sides of my mouth with that answer. And here's what I believe. I believe that people need to be prepared either way. I think all signs lead back to gold doing better, silver doing better, real assets doing better than they have been. I'm just going to caution people, I love swinging for the fences right now. And by the way, more money is made in times of transitional shift like this than any other time. So AI, there's some amazing things that are going to continue to lead right now. But here's the challenge. If we don't have our anchors in place, are bonds the answer to all of life's anchors? And that's what we've ultimately been told by 60-40 portfolios. And so I would argue that bonds can actually lose money in 5 different ways. I think that we've got some major risks on the table that are not necessarily being discussed. And I'll name this one. And that is, let's say that, with tariffs and different things, Moody's, now the third credit rating agency, they decide,
don't you dare. Yeah.
And they take those triple Bs and they become double Bs. What happens to all that debt? What happens to the whole system when it gets downgraded from AAA to AA and it now leaves room for maybe a gold standard scenario to be the AAA rated option? I just feel like we're in a weird place. None of this figures out in a day or a short moment, but we have to be vigilant. Hopefully the best ideas will prevail.
Yeah, you make a great point. So, we've highlighted the fact that, look, he's got Doge. I want everybody to understand that when the government was, supplying a lot of cash to the economy, that makes the economy look a lot better than it really is. So that's our money supply. M2 is the measure of that. So when you pull that money back out, like Doge is doing, you're just going to see a contraction of the economy. There's nothing you can do about that. So he's going to be fighting a contraction of the economy at the same time he's going to be fighting inflation. It's a heavy lift. It's going to be a hard thing to do. I think some of this market turmoil is because of that, because they've all realized that his golf shot is he's got to go under that bush and over the tree at the same time.
No question about that one, Scott. It's a tricky shot to pull off. And now we're going to get real data showing up here. When we look at GDP numbers and they were +3 and now they're negative, I mean, within a short time frame, this is very, very, very important for us to notice. The winds of change are upon us right now. And if we don't recognize these winds of change, I'm just telling you right now, you got to have your anchors in place. You got to have the right strategies going forward. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised that their buy and hold, park and pray, hope everything will be okay portfolio doesn't necessarily ride this next one out as well.
Man, great points there. Thank you very much for coming on, David. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but hey, gives us opportunity. That's the way I look at it. Opportunity abounds. All right. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, David.